and I'm so glad I finished this book in time, literally last night, because I wanted to be sure that I could recommend it in this video. And I'm so happy to say that I can. Hello everyone, my name is Holly and today I'll be recommending you the perfect books to read this winter season. With lazier days, let's be honest, and more time indoors to escape the cold, winter comes with the very distinct advantage of hopefully giving us more time to spend reading. Unless you're like me and you love the snow and you'll be outside playing in it. In fact, I'm thinking about getting a bucket and filling it up with snow and bringing it up into my bathtub so that my cats can play in it. Yes, I am that crazy cat lady. Personally for me, since I'm a fantasy reader, when I think of winter, I think of epic, complex fantasy. I mean, you're going to be stuck inside for the next few months. Might as well get lost in a big fantasy world, am I right? Especially with the big snowstorms that are predicted to hit us this year, which I'm excited about. Honestly, it's probably the Game of Thrones effect. When I think of winter, I think of dragons and like drafty castles, but I also think of magical reads and charming reads as well because winter is magical. So if you're like me and absolutely adore anything fantasy and need something to read that's really going to entertain you, then be sure to stick around, subscribe if you are not, and like this video. It really helps me out. But before we dive into the stack, I want to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. BetterHelp is convenient and affordable therapy, and with the days becoming shorter and colder, it's more important now more than ever to not only check in on others around you, but yourself as well. And trust me, it always helps to have someone to talk to, and that's why I'm always excited to talk about BetterHelp. I know for me where I live, it's really hard to find local therapists. There are almost no options for small town dwellers like myself, but BetterHelp takes that really hard part out of the equation. They find you a licensed therapist in just a couple days, and all you have to do is answer a couple of questions on their website. And their flexibility is amazing. Say you're not meshing well with your therapist, well, they make it super easy to change your therapist, and they make it so that you can make that change and not have to worry about price or even insurance. So if you happen to be struggling or just like the idea of having someone to talk to, don't wait. I have a link for you, of course, at the top of my description box. It's going to take you to BetterHelp's website, and you're going to get 10% off your first month of therapy with that link. So you can try it out and see if it's the right fit for you. Thanks again, BetterHelp, for working with me today. Now let's talk about that first book. Darkwater Daughter. This is an adult fantasy that is all about pirates, and you would think a pirate-themed book would be great for summer. Pirates normally mean beaches and sunny environments, sand, palm trees, and all the warm location things, but Darkwater Daughter is the one exception as it's set in the winter sea where there's snowstorms and ice, so with that, obviously, I think it's a great read for the colder months. The sequel to this actually just recently got a cover reveal right here, which is very exciting. That's coming out next year. This is told by two POVs. It switches between them, and I really enjoyed this. I read a lot of books where there's like 6 POVs, so just like the 2 was a welcome break for me. We have Mary, who is the coolest character. She's a storm singer, which means she can use her voice to bend the ocean to her will, and ships use storm singers for this reason, which might be one of the reasons she's on the run, because there's something really special about her. Throw in an undying pirate lord with a deadly agenda, and you have one heck of a fun adventure that will certainly keep you company for the winter. Oh, and if you are a fan of the adventures of Amina al-Sarafi, you will love this book, I think. If you've never read a fantasy book where pirates and magic were involved in a winter setting, I think you'll love this book. Honestly, if you're a fantasy reader in general, I think you'll like this. And I will not so patiently be waiting for the next book to come out. Then once you're finished with that and you're looking for something maybe more toned down a little, something that's going to make you smile and chase all of your nightmares away, the Enchanted Sonata. Now, this is an older book. In fact, I haven't talked about it on this channel in years, and with Christmas around the corner, it feels fitting to recommend it for this video. Now, I loved this book when I read it, and I just might do a reread, but with a reread of old books, you do risk the does this book still hold up to my ever-changing standards? Because I read far different books than I did back then, but I still really want to talk about it. This is one of the most charming Christmas books you'll ever read. It's a fantasy retelling of the Nutcracker. My knowledge of the Nutcracker is incredibly minimal, but this can still be really enjoyed. We have Clara, who finds a mysterious present wrapped underneath her Christmas tree. She opens it and finds a Nutcracker and a strange book along with it. We have kind of a portal fantasy. There's like 2 worlds fighting each other, reality and like a magical fantasy kingdom kind of location. The story is just like the pure embodiment of magic. There's an evil magician, there's fairies and giant rats. As the title suggests, it's so enchanting, and I highly recommend giving it a try this holiday season. Winter, White, and Wicked. This is one of those 2020 releases that I feel like slid under everyone's radar, and I really enjoyed it. And I just have to recommend it for this upcoming winter season. This is a fantasy that I highly recommend to those of you who love found family and mystery. It's like taking the Grishaverse and blending it with like Mad Max or Snowpiercer, actually. I haven't watched that movie in so long. We follow Sylvie, who lives on this island in her big rig truck, and this island is cursed by eternal winter, and Sylvie so happens to be favored by the icy spirit who has actually protected her all of her life. After some events, she has a run-in with a group of smugglers. That's all I'm going to say about the plot, because I feel like this is a book you need to go in pretty blind. So it's a magical dystopian world, a gritty tale of survival, which I really like survival elements in my fantasy especially. It's action-packed. I thought the setting was beautiful, especially if you're someone who liked snow. So I really wanted to mention this one today. All right, so as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, winter makes me think of dragons. And I'm so glad I finished this book in time, literally last night, because I wanted to be sure that I could recommend it in this video. And I'm so happy to say that I can. The Dragons of Deepwood Finn. Oh boy, I loved this so much. It just solidified my love for this author's storytelling and writing. It's just another 5-star read to add to the stack. This is the first book to a new fantasy series. It just came out a few days ago. It is so full of adventure. There's dragons that can be bonded with. I mean, who doesn't want that? I want to be bonded with a dragon, and you get to read that here. The story also reminded me of Mistborn, but if Mistborn took place in the mountains, because we have this empire in danger. There's an infamous thief, characters on the run who have to hide under like the shadow of a suppressor. Just read this book. I think it's being swept under everyone's radar right now, and that makes me so sad. So if you want a fantasy this winter, get this from your library, your local bookstore. Well worth the read. I need book 2. This was a 5 out of 5 star for me. And new favorite? Ugh. It's just great. We have come to the last book, and I'm just going to throw it up because maybe you've expected it. The Justice of Kings. Listen, I've talked about this series a lot, and you're going to hear me talk about it even more since the finale is coming out in February. The book is coming out in February, not January. I don't know why I said January, but February. But I get to convince you one last time on how perfect of a book this is so that you can hop on this very relaxing, smooth bandwagon that I'm on and enjoy the finale to the story this winter season. So book 1, The Justice of Kings, is such a great winter, cold, dreary vibe of a book. It's a murder mystery at its heart with really cool magic that is tied to the justice system. The framing of the story couldn't be more fun to read. The setting is awesome. It's a uniquely dark, epic fantasy that I will always shout about. The sequel, which is right here, The Tyranny of Faith, is out. And again, finale, dude, this cover is one of the best covers I've ever seen, and I can't wait to like just continuously stare at it when I have it in my hands. If you are stuck indoors, I definitely wouldn't say no to these. Alrighty, so that is my winter recommendations list. If you're looking for something to read that is on theme for the season, I hope you found something to your liking. Let me know in the comments any books that you think fit this list, because if you know me at all, I love snow. I love wintry things and could always use some more of that in my fantasy, especially for these next few months. Before you go, be sure to check out that BetterHelp offer. It'll be linked for you, and until we meet again, happy reading.